Let's draw floating islands. Welcome to the new and improved GoGo Mock Rocket Sheep Let's Draw. Today we are going to be drawing floating islands. It's going to be a lot of fun, but before we get to that, let's take a look at the art that you sent in last week. Okay, so we're drawing some floating islands. Let's start with pencil layers, and maybe I'm going to make some ovals to start. Kind of like that. There's one oval. Maybe there's another. Maybe some littler ones. This is kind of all one-dimensional, and by one-dimensional I mean it's two-dimensional, height, depth. But we're not going to do 3D stuff right now. Let's just all pretend that this is kind of on the same layer. Then let's do some jaggedies underneath. Make it kind of look like floating mountains, but upside down mountains. Very nice. Not bad. All right, then maybe there's a little bit of debris that's also floating. So we have kind of some floating islands now. Now I had the idea of making like one sort of a sci-fi-ish island. So maybe there's a big dome. Maybe this is the dome that people live under. So it's just kind of like a little sea on its side, a curve. There we go. Okay. And then maybe in this curve, maybe this is a dome, so there's buildings on the inside of this one. Just drawing a bunch of little quick rectangles. It's a pencil layer, so we can add details later, right? There we go. And maybe there's a little tube that comes out into another little building over here. And then maybe the top of this one isn't quite so rigid also. There we go. Okay, so then we're going to add some lines to the bottom to make it look kind of busted. Maybe we'll add some pipes kind of dripping out of the bottom of this island, like so. Not bad. Not bad. Boop, 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 boop. So there's our one island. Okay, now maybe this island is a little more tamed and natural. Not tamed, untamed. So here's our, maybe there's a little lake coming over here. Maybe it drains off the side of our floating island like so. Water falling off. And we'll add some lines and add some trees, like so. For the trees, I don't know if you can see, but I'm just doing these little jaggies like this. We'll fill in the details later. You could also just do V's like that. Very nice. This island, maybe it's like that. Okay, maybe this one doesn't have a dome. It's just buildings alongside the... And maybe it's got a little bridge that comes from here down to here. So now it looks like maybe this one's in the background. This one's underneath. So this one is really flat. And I'm just going to put a bunch of buildings here. Building, building, building. Rectangle, rectangle, rectangle. Draw those lines down like that. Nice. Maybe this one's going to have a spike that comes at the bottom. I'm inspired by Bespin, Cloud City, and Star Wars, I think. There we go. Maybe these ones connect by way of a bridge. A line like that. Okay, I guess it'd have to be like this. Okay, oh, and then a suspension bridge. Okay, that's getting pretty messy. And then it connects down like that. It connects down like that. There. Okay, so we've gotten a little carried away with ourselves, but we've added a lot of detail. And that's pretty fun. So that is our pencils. Now it's time to ink. So when we ink digitally, what I'm doing is I'm just lowering the opaqueness, making it a little lighter to see. Some people do this differently. Like some people, they draw their pencils with like purple or blue. The reason you did that back in the day was if you had a blue pencil, you could scan it in with a scanner and you could ink over your blue pencil and the scanner wouldn't pick up the blue pencils. Or even now it's easy to like get rid of blue pencil in Photoshop. But anyway, I just prefer to make it lighter. And then I use my ink brush, aka I just switch over to a pen. In Clip Studio, if I were drawing in Photoshop, I would use a brush. And then I'm going to keep the lines that I want to keep. Now here's why I prefer Clip Studio to Photoshop, because Clip Studio, maybe Photoshop has this now too, but Clip Studio has this feature where you can overlap lines and then using a special eraser with one little swipe, it erases the entire line and makes it nice and clean. I love that. So now I'm just going to do that to add the buildings in. I'm just doing them 2D right now, but I will probably make them pseudo 3D in a minute. Pseudo 3D meaning I'm not actually going to do it properly. I'm just going to do a quick job. So like, you know, I'm going to go like this. Beep, 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 beep. Nice. Kind of like that. So if you were to pay close attention, it's probably not properly 3D, but that's okay. I just want to give a little bit of depth. And we're going to do a lot of coloring and stuff later, which will help to cover up some of these little inaccuracies. So I'm going to add just a little bit of grid, kind of like this. Kind of just makes it look like there's some details like city streets kind of a thing, right? You can fake a lot. And then maybe I'll put some trees over on this side. The illusion of detail. Because if you can make it look busy enough for the eye and the brain to be tricked into thinking there's a lot of detail, what would be the point of adding the detail? So I'm going to add some windows. Nice. It's all very messy, but it'll get cleaned up when I color. Kind of. It'll still look messy, but I don't care. I kind of want it to look that way. So I'm going to build this ridge up a little bit. Like so. And then build that down. Like that. And there's the base of our dome, and then let's add some little complications in, make it look truly sci-fi. Maybe the ridge here comes on top and covers it up because this is a mountain. Then we're gonna have our globe come up and around, boop, like so. Dome, boop. Nice. Top of the dome. Some lines come down. There we go. Nice. Now it looks kind of dome-ish, right? Okay, let's add that other building out here. I'm just tracing over my pencils, adding stuff as I see fit. Oh yes, we had that tunnel come out. Come out there, and then let's have it come to that building. Oops. Like that. There we go. I'm adjusting things a little bit because I have that bridge to add that I didn't have at first. So I'm just cleaning it up a little bit. Maybe let's add a stack. There we go. Maybe another one. Nice. And then some complications on the side. Okay, let's build the ridge now. Okay, make it a little squiggly. Round, squiggly. Nice. And then maybe some debris scattered around. Okay. Then gotta add the underside. Make it all scraggly. Perfect. Like so. Now I have to get rid of this one because it's not going to make sense with this bridge extending across. Like if I put this here, it's just going to look really messy. So instead what I will do is I'll add the Bespin part. And again, if you don't know what Bespin is, watch Star Wars. There we go. And there we go. The other thing that I like about drawing digitally is you can use hotkeys. So I have one key set up to undo, and I just press it every time I make a mistake. I have one key set to switch between, there's my pencil, there's my eraser, ink pen, pencil, eraser, boop. And it just makes it so quick to ink, especially for kind of like my style, which is cartoony line art style. It takes no time at all, and it's the best. Okay, so we got all these lines. Okay, now we need this to extend, and we're gonna use a little trick where it gets a little wider over time, which is gonna make it seem like this island is level with that island, but this island is closer over here. So there we go, like so. And maybe there should be some depth to that bridge. There we go. Beep. Boop. Nice. And the best part again about drawing from your imagination is that it's kind of hard to do it wrong. Just kind of keep going and add stuff. And if people are like, oh, it doesn't look right, you can be like, well, that's how I wanted it to look. Although, hopefully nobody's being like, that sucks. Because people can be cruel. Okay, here we go. So there's our waterfall. And here it is, falling off of the island. I don't know if I like doing it with such a harsh black outline, but I suppose that is the style of this illustration, so we'll just keep it up. Okay, there's the water. Okay, and then the bottom of this mountain, floating island. Okay, lines. Let's go in and give some of that detail back. So we got our mountain bridge. Okay. And then we got our island tree. Island tree. Now these would be pretty big trees, but that's okay. Inverted little jaggedies. And then V's. V. Guess they're not really V's. They're kind of like sawtooth sort of things. Or maybe I should just call them trees. Maybe that'd be more useful. Okay, and then over here I'm just going to add V's to kind of give the illusion that there's trees behind the trees that are in the front. Overlap some of that mountain. And then let's add some boulders and debris. Not bad. So we have this bridge, and we got to add the pillars. Let's make them cylinders. Beep. So a cylinder is just a tiny little circle at the top, and then some lines that go down, and I want it to be roughly, there we go. Okay, and then over here we need some cylinders too. They shouldn't be the same height. They should be smaller, I'm realizing now. So I've decided that I'm going to add the cable lines after and make the cables a different color, because it's just too yeah, it'll be too distracting. And then actually with my black I can add in these details that I was worried you wouldn't have room for. Okay, then let's do this one in the background here. These little islands, and add some details. Nice. Add some details. There we go. Bring that around. Bring this down. There we go. Let's add some of those grid lines to imply that there's more going on than there is, right? And then maybe another little mountain on the side that covers up this one. And then the bridge. And then this last little floating island. So we have that bridge that comes down. This bridge is not going to be as complicated. I'm just going to add these lines. Okay. Looking like some pretty cool floating islands. Okay. Let's add the jaggedy rocks again. Picking the lines that I want to keep. And then let's see that the mountain goes kind of like this. And then there's buildings hidden behind this one. I don't know why I'm doing... Typically, I guess when people think of floating islands, I'm sure they're more like fantasy style. But I like this one. I like it kind of city style. Alright. That looks pretty cool. There's our ink. And now we are going to color. One good way to color digitally is to actually block out the areas that you want to be a specific color in black, and then change the value of that layer from black to the color that you want. And the nice thing about that is that if you are making a complicated artwork and you're like, oh, all of the brown in this art is too dark, it's too saturated, I need it to be lighter, you can easily adjust. And the other nice thing about it is that you can really clearly see where you're coloring and where you're not coloring, because black shows up really well on the screen. Anyway, it's pretty awesome. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.